Good evening and welcome to 16 by 9, The Bigger Picture. I'm Mary Garofalo. For years, James O'Neill was stared at and talked about. A massive facial tumor disfigured him, making him the town attraction. But today, his life has been forever changed because of a Canadian doctor and an unexpected friend. Our Carolyn Jarvis now with the story of a guardian angel.
45 minutes outside of Seattle works a man they call Mr. Hollywood. He's been a checkout clerk at this Safeway for the past 7 years.
Hello, how are you today?
And doesn't look like any Hollywood actor. His stardom came from an unlikely customer whose curiosity and generosity one day changed his life.
I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and my parents told me this is what you have. My mom said, you know, everybody's born with a handicap, regardless. So you live life to its fullest every day. And that's how I took on life.
James O'Neill has neurofibromatosis. It's a disease he was born with 47 years ago, causing tumors to grow over his body, including a substantial facial mass.
And so you had a lot of surgeries when you were a kid?
I had one every summer from 1 year old till 18.
What's remarkable is that you're looking at the new James after his last surgery. This was James only 7 months ago. His tumor had grown into a shockingly large 9-pound mass, weighing down half of his face. His ear was by his shoulder, his mouth dragged down to his chin.
How's your day going?
But the tumor didn't stop him from working, playing, living. It didn't stop people from staring either.
Oh yeah. You know, they sit there and stare, and it's like, what? What are you looking at? I mean, adults are the worst because they're afraid to ask, or they just want to be like, but kids want to know, so they're going to ask. And I'm okay with that.
Were the adults ever cruel?
Oh yeah, I had a few that called me like, they call me grotesque and different names, you know, but it was like, you know what, whatever. You know, that's who you want to be, that's fine. I don't care.
After his last surgery at 18, his parents' health insurance no longer covered him, and James didn't have enough money for the elaborate operation needed to remove the tumor. So as it grew, James simply had to adjust. Amazingly, James never saw it as a hardship, and his gregarious personality was infectious.
Kids beg to go through my line when they come to the grocery store.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
They're like, oh, Mom, James is here. We got to go through that line. No matter how long the line is, the kids want to go through my line.
Do they have a nickname for you?
The Pirate Man?
The Pirate Man?
Yeah.
Because of the eye patch?
Yeah, I was always called the Pirate Man.
But it wasn't just kids waiting to see James. Katie Knopf made sure she went through his checkout stand every week.
I'm not one to be pushy, and so what's wrong with your face, you know?
Did you ever say that?
I did one day, and I was getting out my receipt. Oh, how do you write that? You know, he's spelling it for me.
Katie, a busy mother of 5, had known James for 4 years by this point when she decided she was going to help.
I put out a little flyer at church that day, and I said, hey, if you want to come over and talk about James, how we can help him, come to my house tonight. And my kids passed out the flyer to all the neighbors here, and they came back with money from every single neighbor.
So Katie brought more flyers, this time to her daughter's school, and the interest kept growing. The local TV station picked up the story, Safeway joined the cause, and a website was launched. The money started pouring in.
I was calling him moment to moment to say, James, you are not going to believe what's happening. This is incredible, and he could not believe it.
In the first 2 weeks, they had raised $30,000.
I was shocked because I was thinking, you know, it's going to be a year before anything ever happens. But it was 6 months.
And in those short 6 months, people from across the country, even as far away as Australia, heard James's story and gave.
Wow. How many letters did you get?
Oh, like, hey, this is only one box, so Katie has the other box.
They had raised more than $240,000. James was going to get his surgery.
Is this mind-blowing to you?
Yes. to talk about it, I don't feel I'm talking about me. It's someone else's story, you know.
Canadian doctor Peter Nelligan left Toronto 2 years ago to lead the Centre for Reconstructive Surgery at the University of Washington.
So one of the other things you see here is that his ear is A, abnormally big, and B, it's pulled way down onto his neck. It should be up here someplace.
He was so moved by James's story that he donated his time so that James could have his procedure.
Everybody else was giving to this guy. He's just an amazing guy. So I thought the least I could do was do the same. So
The operation would be complicated, and losing too much blood was a serious risk. But James was ready.
I've been doing a lot of thinking that it's going to be so nice to get this done and just become a new man and hopefully find a lot of things change.
On November 6, 2008, James was wheeled into the operating room and the transformation was underway. For 8 hours, Dr. Nelligan and his team removed as much of the tumor as possible, but the blood loss was severe.
there were several times during the operation when we had to stop to allow the anesthesiologist to catch up with the blood loss.
James lost 29 units of blood when the body only holds 8. No patient at the university hospital had ever lost as much.
I have one more kind of major cut to do to remove the stuff we've already freed up, and that should be it.
But the team persevered.
Good work, everybody. That was fantastic.
We removed the bulk of the tumor on his face, and then we resuspended his ear in a more normal position. The facial tissues that had dropped down onto his neck, having removed the tumor from his face, we were able to lift this tissue back up.
James emerged with a new face, but having no idea what it looked like.
So when did you first look in the mirror?
Monday night. I had church on Thursday. It was Monday night. My best friend Ray was there, and she's like, "Oh, have you seen it yet?" And I'm like, "No." So she goes out to find a mirror, gets a mirror, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, it's actually gone. There's nothing there." So I was pretty shocked that it was actually gone.
Happy?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How do you see him changed now after the surgery?
Well, you know, James walks a lot around town and his head is held a lot higher, and I don't think it's the 8 pounds they took off. He feels really proud and really self-confident of who he is.
But the journey isn't complete just yet. James will have a second operation in August to remove the remainder of the tumor on his neck.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be something I'll have to adjust to.
Isn't that odd that the adjustment would come in not having the tumor instead of having it?
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting, but it'll be worth it.
In the meantime, James is back to focusing on his passion for football.
Because the Seahawks are Seattle, man. They're my heroes.
Do you know what James calls you?
No?
He calls you his guardian angel.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's quite the title.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Well, you know, I'm not really a guardian angel. What I really think, it just took one person to say, "Hey, I'm going here. Do you want to come? Who's coming? Let's go." And everyone said, "I'm on. Let's go."
The money that Katie helped raise went so far beyond what even James needed that his cause has taken on new meaning. The foundation is now trying to help a man in Nigeria with neurofibromatosis so he can come to the US for his life-altering surgery. In less than a year, James's life is completely changed, all because of one person's generosity and a swell of community support that turned the Pirate Man into Mr. Hollywood.
Have a great day.